I think I need to talk to people like yourselves and the people with disabilities and find out what their real needs are in terms of those, in terms of building codes, where they want toilets and amenities placed around town, and then go to the council, people and say, look, we need good public toilets, disability toilets in this area, this area, this area, make sure it's done. That's what I would do. I need to talk to people like you.
I've listened, Johnny, in the past when you have done submissions about the disability sector with Vanessa. And I think the important and most powerful thing that's been said is dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. It's come through real loud and clear, and it's not just the disability sector, it's the whole of our community. And council must actually remember that they have ears and they have to listen to the community, because everybody's needs are so different. I know there's been buildings built that haven't complied, and it's afterwards they have to go and widen the entranceway, put ramps in, the toilet access, and it's also very important for a lot of the buildings have to actually be able to actually employ people with disabilities. When you build a building, it's far cheaper in the design to actually do it properly the first time, do it once, do it right, rather than changing it at a later date. And ask the community what their needs are. Who knows about your needs better than you? I don't know what your needs are. You tell me, I listen, then I can act. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Johnny. Go.
Well, the building code is outside the regional council's portfolio, but personally, I've always supported it, and I think that all buildings should have what do they call it, disability toilets, and so that people can get into them. Because not only do they help people with disability, they're very good when you've got to take your coat off, when you've got braces like me, and for women that have got children. You know, some of the toilets in New Zealand are little cubby holes, and they shouldn't be that small. Yeah, no, we need decent facilities for all people, not only for disability people, but it should be big enough for people with disabilities so that they can get in with their wheelchair, turn around, sit down. I mean, I had the problem with my late wife. She was in a wheelchair, and I used to have to take her to the toilets and this sort of thing. Yeah. So I know exactly the problem. And my daughter and my son in Auckland both work with people with disabilities.
I'm actually a builder myself. I've been building, all my buildings ever since I started building have been wheelchair accessible and accessible to disabled, because I've got a cousin in a wheelchair. So I'm very, very up to play with what you need. However, I'm always open to suggestions from people. I've built a lot of retirement units for the elderly, and they need it to be absolutely accessible. And so it's a multi-purpose. I tutor architectural students up there, and I'm always hammering into them, when you're designing, make it multi-purpose. Don't make it for different. How would I what? Radio channel. That's a no-no. You can't. How would I stop it? I would certainly find the laws and rules about it and make sure that we adhere to them properly. I don't believe there should be waivers. I've got to look at the legislation involved in there. I didn't realise that they could get waivers on public buildings, and it just can't happen. So you just taught me something already. But yeah, talking to the people and asking them their needs is really important to me. Public consultation, I've said that right the way through. There's lack of public consultation with the council and the previous council. We need to get out there and put it out to people before we do something and get their feedback and make a proper decision. That's where I'm coming from.
I think one of the things the regional council needs to play is they need to take a lead role in a lot of these decisions. We need to have a Northland strategy. I truly believe that, and I think that's what's it's lacking. If we have a Northland strategy, and we can have, there'll be a lot of common things among the 3 districts, right? So that we can then use the pool to try and get us forward. Because at the moment, there's the 4 councils are not working together. They're sort of pulling apart. And I think that's the influence we can play, in terms of the districts. Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, Cliff Calhoun, who runs Seabeek, in Taotaia, they have got people, what you talk about, actually doing this type of work, helping them in their whole resource recovery park area. So it's an opportunity for people to have that type of work as well. So it's, and it's work that's within their capabilities of doing it, that they can do comfortably with. It might be sorting and all that sort of type of thing, but at least it's something that they can be doing for themselves. And where I stand with that, because I've got my young fella, and I'll be looking to place him in one of these areas where he can work along with others that have their concerns. So community driven, and the outcomes will be for the benefits of everybody, not just us as who we are, but for everyone else too.
It was one of the things I would definitely have no problem with, as we've just talked about this in the past, last time. I'd have no problems with actually getting our code up to standard and actually employing... Now, Johnny, I can't remember the name of the group which actually goes around. That was barrier-free audit. I would expect a barrier-free audit done on every building place. As you know, I sorted out the swimming pool. I sorted out the entranceway to that. And that was just one of the many projects. And when you come to anything like that, you need to have solutions, and they need to have the barrier-free audit done on them before they get passed. I've been working with Northland to try and get that put into law, into the Building Act, so that it is a requirement that barrier-free audit is done for all public buildings. So therefore it makes it easier. The Building Act is being revised at this present moment, and now is the ideal time for us to get a submission in on that. So I'm definitely well in favour of actually getting that moving. Of course, it's going to be harder to get to retrofit buildings, but it will be easy for new buildings. Especially even the ACC building in Whangarei.
First of all, the person that is involved in both councils, to me, aren't showing good leadership because they're being very antagonistic to one another. So why we're standing and I'm standing is that I want to lift the level of governance. Good governance means whether you like someone or not, you work with them, and because you are elected to work with them, and that's part of being part of a board. So it doesn't matter whether you don't like them, can't get on with them, or disagree with them. You still keep an open communication and work with them, and that's the first thing. If you can't talk to them, you can't solve any problems. So you've got to be a high enough ethics to be able to do that, and so and then you can accomplish anything. From an amenities point of view, the NRC is responsible for social, as you're probably well aware of what they're responsible for. When it comes to the detail of what they have to do in their town, that's their problem. But when it comes to things where access to the environment, like I was on the cycling and walking strategy, for example, I'm passionate about. They give very little money, and the regional council needs to be involved in that for cycling and walking. We need 3-metre cycling and walking ways everywhere, and I'm working on that on my own developments and putting it in. I worked on the Whangarei stream with a community project. We tried to do that with the cycling and walking strategy. The biggest thing with that is it links like our bush on either side, and it gets people access into the bush, and then they appreciate the environment. When you appreciate the environment because you're in it, then you want to save the environment, and that's, to me, it's just the biggest problem. You need access to it, and everyone, and that's everyone. It's I'm pretty keen on the cycling and walking stuff. Yeah, and you can't do it on roads. Cycling on roads, rubbish, and so you've got to do an off-road connection thing, which would suit your needs. 3 metre off-road, walking, cycling, everything.
All new projects, all new amenities they're there for the community as a whole. So they need to service the community as a whole. That is all people. What it comes down to with any projects, any amenities, is planning. It's pure and simple. It's planning. It is about doing the detail and ensuring at the beginning that you take the responsibility to ensure that it meets the needs of the community. And that is about certainly consultation with particular groups, because it's probably not such a big deal for people of different cultural backgrounds, but we need to focus on the handicapped or the disabilities, the youth, the young, strollers and prams, the elderly with walking frames and walking sticks. And it comes down to planning. The enforcement of the code and the legal requirements is a function of the Whangarei District Council at an operational level. And this will fall under the remit of the CEO and the information and the directives that he is passing down to his inspectors, his planning members. So that is a function of operation. I guess from a function of strategy, which is the council and the mayoralty, is more about ensuring that the CEO and the management of the Whangarei District Council are clear on what they have to do as a requirement of law, what is expected of them as from the community, as is being told to them by their councillors and by the mayoralty, and ensuring that they understand and have clear guidelines as to what they are to do. And then it is up to the CEO and the management to get that out to the wider council.
That's the process.
Yep.
So how would you ensure that?
I'm not unsure that it doesn't happen, or it does happen. Okay, then that's great. Then that is a matter of one. It is certainly public consultation with the groups like yours, because you are obviously getting that information from the public to where it is falling down, and then it is a matter of the council and the mayoralty taking to task the CEO and his staff, and putting in it should be part of any company management structure where you've got KPIs, you've got certain deliverables you have to meet, and if you don't meet those deliverables, then that comes down to human resource process and procedures, as you say. But I think it does stem from community involvement. If we are lax in certain areas, that information has to feed back so that we're able to rectify those situations.
Right. Thank you for...
No problem at all. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Well, I believe that, we, aside from our responsibilities in terms of compliance and enforcement with the building code, it goes beyond that. It's also, not every public building is serving the same purpose in terms of who the users are, and I think we need to go beyond that and engage with the wider community, engage with your organisation and have that input, and that's an opportunity that we have with public buildings, because WDC is obviously going to be controlling that. In terms of private buildings, we can't really go too far out, outside of what the obligation is. But there can, there is opportunities to to sort of improve performance there, through encouraging, and informing, guys who are doing those developments.